So we'll first look into the SDK version 3 is right now, and what they have mainly did was there are a couple of improvements as well as like feature requirement that is requested by many customers in the world. So what they did was they divided all those things and the important parts, and they specifically mentioned three things like middleware stack as well as TypeScript support and modularized architecture. So these three things has been highlighted in the AWS version. So let me quickly explain the last two parts, so which is easy, and middleware stack I'll explain details. So the TypeScript version is, we all know, TypeScript is like a most wanted, like mostly used language in the globe. So they already had small support for TypeScript, but not in the first class level. Now in the recent time that they introduced the TypeScript support for the first class, what we can do is we can do all the TypeScript version and features. We can use all those things in the AWS system. And the modular architecture is as we know, AWS SDK was pretty much heavy, in the size. So when we are bundling it, it will take so much of time to pack it and bundle, and we have to sit it there. And even though we had the SDK in our Lambda environment time, but we don't have several features like some services in Lambda level. So now what they did was they introduced something called modular. So if you only want if you only want like S3, you can only import S3, that particular service as in Lambda or anything. So then what you can do is you can bundle that. So it will be it will be fast as it will be delivered quickly. So that's a second advantage. So that's what they did. And let's talk about the middleware stack. So let's say when we take the SDK as a component, we had this stack, which is let's say that particular JavaScript SDK is combined with several asynchronized calls. Behind the scene, there are several calls that are been going, even though we don't know. So now there should be a specific order, do this first and that first, or third. So there is an order. So that particular order is showing something called stack. So now until this last release, that what they did was we don't have control over that particular stack. Example, what is defined is now what they did was they gave us a control, we can move, we can add new things, and we can modify the existing one. That the better part is you can modify the default one as well. So if you want something to let's say you are querying a S3 metadata, you can query it based on the prefix, and you can modify those. So they gave us that particular customization advantage. So that's the main thing. So for an example, what we think normally middleware is something in this case, let's say this is I'll show you in a code base level. I'm going to use the same that they give. Yeah. So it's basically you will do a particular process and then you will pass on to the next step. So you can define it here. Let's say what they are doing is they are taking the X3. So I said that they are taking the metadata of it. So then they are putting the params, and it's a simple line of code. But this is what I was initially speaking about. You can simply, rather than importing the entire SDK, you can simply import that specific service as well, and which will give you a great advantage. I already increase the performance by a huge amount of time by using TypeScript as well as the modular import. So So you can use this particular, you can go through this particular like code base, and you can like simply get more data. So other than this, yeah, other than this modular stack, these are three things that they mainly want to like highlight, because this will give you a huge advantage in performance, as well as the uh, how can I say, like accessibility. So you can do a lot of things in the middleware itself. You don't have like can do things level. So they gave that feature as well. And then other than that, there are a couple of like features they introduce. For an example, now you have the logging mechanism in the AWS SDK as well. The API level, you can do the logging, as well as the DynamoDB page injection. And now they have introduced a new retry behavior to throttling the responses. So that will be a huge advantage, because before we usually like get the error saying like try again. So we have some workaround those things. So now they have the new like retry behavior. So it will be easy for us when we are coding, and multi-part upload. They worked on multi-part upload. I think already Keshav was like speaking about that. Those things has been implemented there as well, and the pagination as well. They were like working on the pagination. Then now they are supporting on the HTTP like version 2, like 11 protocol. So those are some of the things that like mentioned in the documentation. But when we are going to the when we have a good look at the developer guide that they gave us, it will be like there are a lot more. So you can look into that as well. Then the next topic that I want to like speak about is EC2 Mac instances. This is not a new thing, and not new thing as in like EC2 was there for a long time, but there are some of the users who really want Mac instances, like in EC2, so they can do the packaging and testing the like Xcode level. So now for that, what they did was they introduced uh, Mac Mini hardware to EC2, which is running on Catalina as well as Mojave. As I can remember, we can check it. Those are the two operating systems. I will show you in the demo itself, because you can select there. So then it's a 8th generation and 62 gigabyte of memory. And the best thing is like even though it's a new service, it have the networking connectivity as well. You can put the VPC, as well as you can connect it to the other services like such as Blockstore and Windows file server and say S3. All those things can be like easily connected. But one thing we have to be like so sure about it, it's so expensive and it's only available on certain regions. So as we know, Mac is always like expensive. So this service also like quite expensive. So in order to like see what are the region that is available, in what are the region this particular service is available, what you can do is you can simply here. I'll first show you a demo, and I'll show you find because I don't want like specifically say updating. So if you create a new instance, you can see that Catalina and Mojave is here. Right? You can select one of these. Here you can see there are not much of a things, because it's still at the not beta level. It's available, but you have to create a new host as well. Like so. So I just want to show you this one. Like you can create a host, and then you can review and launch. This is the only validation that they have, but it will take some time to like deploy and not create instance. So the next thing that I want to talk about is location service. As I already mentioned, this is a new service and which is almost in a beta level, and it's only available on certain regions. So for an example, it's similar to what we call like that. But it's, but advantage here is we are under the one particular hood. Let's say when cloud provider, it's under AWS itself. You don't have to any other things, any other cloud providers to like map or basically like tracking. So this is mainly for like tracking, map, and like, geolocation and geocoding. All those. This is a particular service that we can use for like for an example like Uber Eats or something like that. I'll quickly show. I'll go and show you because there is. This is still at a very basic level because now only they only support I think two type of maps, which is satellite and view, and they are just like eventually they will support more. That's what they said it in the event as well as it uh, documentation as well. So if we go to this one, okay, there are four important things that like that they uh, made it like they differentiated both the different things. Like an example map, which is the normal map where you can visualize the data, and the place of index. So this is where you can like say this is the address and you can get the coordinates as well as you can give the coordinates and you can get the address. And then after that, geofence collection, which means like there will be a boundary. Okay, so for an example, okay, if you take this as a photo, and let's say this is a park, just let's assume. So there will be a like border, and what it will do is based on the border, it will say which is the nearest park. So this is that's the advantage of like the collection, geofence collection. And the tracker is basically you will track a particular device. At this second, this device was here, and at second it was there, how it's moving, and based on that, we can do all those calculations and all. It's still at the like very basic level, but eventually it will be like uh, it will get to a better place. And then one thing we have to like keep it in mind in the location is we have to use some extra libraries such as like they are using some providers for ECD and here technology. Other than that, let's say in order to get the particular like geocoding and all those things, you have to use some other libraries as well. It's not fully like implemented yet. It's we have to do those library like importing as well. We have to keep that in mind. And if you want to see I can show you, like, they're using, yeah, these are the get map tile. What we have to do is we have to use map box as well as there are several libraries. That's and this is how they are doing the tracking, like batch up device position. And there is a query that we have to make. Based on that, we have to get all the. The next one is the anomaly detection. This is not a new one, but what is doing is like an enhancement. So for an example, like it's first of all it's free, like and it's available in all regions and all accounts. So then like the as I said, this is a free one and it's generally available for every user. And the main purpose of this the service is let's say we have auto scaling in AWS. We have auto scaling everywhere. That there's a high chance that we can miss that particular sector. So let's say it can be like we easily miss those things. So in order to like study those patterns and like alert us, okay, in this place, this is how your cost is like increase suddenly, and how you can control those costs. So this is the particular service for that, and this is not a like independent service. This will be like integrated with AWS Cost Explorer. This is just a visualization of it. So for an example, what they are using is for this particular thing, they are using machine learning to identify your pattern and like suggesting how we can do and all those things. Yeah, they are using those things. But the what I see as an advantage is now you can create monitors for each and everything, and you can create alert and subscriptions. So then it will monitor all those things based on the suggestions and all those. Create monitors, and then it will alert. Okay, now this is what happening. So that's the good feature, right? Like we don't have to worry about the cost. Like otherwise, sometimes we used to get this problem. Sometimes we use the concurrency and all those things, and we suddenly get a amount of money. So we can use this, and we can like be more sure about how the money is going. And let's move to the next topic. So this is like target with batch computing, serverless batch computing. Like, this is also not for like daily basis thing. When you try to like have a huge amount of jobs to be done, so that's where we try to use these things. So we already know batches for like scientists and big data person do some jobs and get the results. So that's how job was working, and it's already had the queuing and scheduling and life cycle management for the customer. But even though the batch AWS batch has these features, but it is to like uh, application. So what they want is they want to do the batching and they want to like get it up and running quickly. So what for that only what AWS guys did is they integrated a batch with Target. So in that case, what they can achieve is like they don't have to worry about like maintaining the images as well, like right sizing components and monitoring the task. It will automatically do, right? Like as we know, like Target did uh, all those things, and what they did was they combined both services and they gave the best solution. So this is also globally available for everyone. I can simply go and show you. So if you go here, there is something called compute environment. So you can create a compute environment, and here you can see like target, right? Target or target score. That's a small difference between that. We don't have to worry about that right now. Target, and you can create a component. Once you create it, now I'm not going to create it, but once you create it, you can create a job definition. When you're creating a job definition, you can again select target. And then once you create it, you can map that target, the environment that you created with here. So after that, it's really easy. Like they just created they just combined two services and they did the what do you call the implementation. So that's all about it from my end. Yeah. Thank you.